All right, ladies and gentlemen, we welcome you back to another episode of the Gafford and Brown Show. My name is Lamar Gafford,
And I'm Robert Brown.
and we have a very good show for you today because we not only have one interview, but we have two interviews. We'll be back again with Dusty Thibodeau of Warhawk Report, and also Tabby Saunier of the News Star, as they will try to at least talk to us a little bit about the Independence Bowl. We'll also talk about some of the other bowl games, the NFL, and also the NBA with some of the news that's happening going on there. But let's start things off with the NFL playoff picture. And wow, this is my week 17. This is one of my favorite times of the year because now it's not quite the playoffs, but you got everybody trying to scratch and claw themselves in order to get into the playoffs.
Right, pretty much with the NFC is where we have the most chaos. We have those wild card spots still need to be determined by Week 17's results. Now, Lamar, we all know that you're a faithful Cowboy fan.
Mm-hmm.
Are you nervous this weekend? Is there any anxiety going into this game against Washington?
I am going to be very honest with you on that one, and I think there is, a little bit of nerves right here for us because last year we were kind of in the same situation, having to play in the Sunday night football game against the Giants, going on the road to them, and the Cowboys really did not. They didn't win that game, and you see the Giants. They came away with the division, and got to the playoffs while we were basically sitting on the couch. Same situation is happening this year because we play against Washington. The game is for the division, and we have to travel to DC as opposed to them coming to us. I'm a little bit nervous about that one because right now the Redskins have been one of the hottest teams in the league. They got a 6-game winning streak, and right now we found a way to lose a game against the Saints, but we've been performing pretty well in December, to say the least.
Right. Yeah, I have to say, even though that Saints game was a bit disappointing, Dallas came out and put on a great performance, a great come from behind performance against a Saints team that is better than their record.
Mm-hmm.
They still, even though they've had their defensive struggles, they still have Drew Brees and a high-powered offense. And Dallas has looked good. Dez Bryant has been playing at an elite level. Romo has been making less mistakes and more progress down the field. DeMarco Murray's back. The defense has had some struggles, but I think against Washington, they'll be more prideful in their performance, considering that Thanksgiving Day game, well, Washington just embarrassed Dallas at home. So I think Dallas, the defense, is going to step up in that game and try to get some closure on this season, try to get down into the playoffs.
And one could really hope so because I saw that game, and that game was just they really made RG3 look like he was kind of like, I don't know, like he looked like a little bit like Peyton Manning out there and Tom Brady out there. Not taking anything away from RG3, who's had a marvelous season so far, but they really made him look great out there. Very good, like one of them like a top 10 quarterback.
Right, and that has to be a huge difference between that Washington offense in action compared to film. Because if you watch the film, let's say RG3 performance in that Cowboy game was very reminiscent of his Week 1 performance against the Saints. Mm-hmm. So where there was a lot of bootleg play, a lot of play action, a lot of play action leading to the big play down the field, like the exact same plays. So, with him having a body of work now for teams to watch and, develop game plans around, that offense really has to be something to behold in person if it still can't be stopped.
Exactly. And you know what? Funny thing that we did mention about RG3 because right now, we've been talking about RG3 and comparing him to Andrew Luck as well. But there's not only him, but another team that really surprised me was the Seattle Seahawks and their performance of their rookie, Russell Wilson. Right now, who would you have as like your offensive rookie of the year at this point in time?
Oh man, this is tough. This is very tough. To me, this is a tougher debate comeback player of the year award between Peyton Manning and Adrian Peterson. I think this is way tougher because you look at each situation and they're the same, but they're not. You look at Russell Wilson, you have a guy that was drafted lower than expected due to his height. Mm-hmm. No one expected him to come into Seattle and be the starter because of Matt Flynn receiving that big contract during the offseason. He's won the starting job, won over his teammates. The guy, he isn't the flashiest player, but he definitely gets enough for you to win. Mm-hmm. He's truly a leader of men. The team is around him. You just look at him, and he seems as if he's a veteran the way he plays. Then you look at Indianapolis, you have Andrew Luck, who's a bit more of a gunslinger, who takes more risk than RG3 and Russell Wilson, but at the same time, he makes the right plays when necessary. Mm-hmm. And, I say other than that New England game, when he threw like 4 picks, he's had an impressive season for a rookie in my eyes. And then you have RG3, who's definitely the flashier. He's the flashiest of the other two quarterbacks. He's definitely somebody that's been on Sports Center more. Definitely a guy that's, gaining more hype and more popularity along with after each game. If you want to go by highlights, you got to give it to RG3. But mm-hmm. if you wanted to go by, I say leadership and just breaking all expectations, I would go with Russell Wilson.
Right. And you have, and you can, and we're saying basically here, you can actually make a very strong case for each and every single one of those 3 players because, you look at the Skins right now, they were 3-6. They won 6 straight games, and with RG3 playing in 5 of them, and he certainly has had the stats. He hasn't made that many mistakes. You also got Andrew Luck, who also has a little bit of the stats, and nobody really expected the Colts to be this good, not this soon, with a bunch of roster upheaval and all. And right now they're 10-5. They got themselves the 5th seed. And now also you got Russell Wilson, who, like you also said, he just basically wins games. And he had to overcome Matt Flynn. He had to overcome also being a 3rd-round draft pick. And that's pretty impressive to myself. So, in my opinion, really, whoever they give it to, I would not have any problem. And I don't think anybody else would have any problem with that either.
Right. It's just like the MVP Comeback Player of the Year award between Peyton Manning and Adrian Peterson. I'm sure whoever wins, no one is going to walk away feeling jilted or mad. Everyone, has a solid argument. The only thing I say that hurts RG3 is the fact that he missed a game and his team still found a way to win. That's the only slight against RG3 this season I can see someone making. But other than that, the guys put together a stellar season. If they make the playoffs, seeing all 3 of these guys as rookies make the playoffs really just shows that the football is in good hands and that there's a bright future for all these guys.
Oh, definitely, and it really is. And like I said, this quarterback class has really done very well. Has it really impressed us? And, you also got, other quarterbacks like Ryan Tannehill and Brandon Weeden, who they not of course they're not getting as much pub as these 3 guys, but hopefully those two can at least try to, perform themselves pretty well as well.
Right. Yeah, and there's no flight to those guys because those guys let's be honest, they're playing on teams with lesser talent and who are more in rebuilding stages than the other 3 teams. Seattle, Indianapolis, and Washington. And you look at Miami, they've had a great season. They're not going to the playoffs, but compared to what we thought prior to the season started, they've had a pretty good season.
Right.
They're going to finish. I'm not exactly sure of their record, but it's close to 500. I think. What was it? 7 and 8?
7 and 8.
7 and 8.
Yeah.
So they have a chance to finish the season at 500. to say that they have a rookie quarterback, a new coach, a new system, you gotta hang your hat on that. In a division owned by New England, you have to hang your hat on that. You have something to build on. So, and Cleveland, they're a team that's been in every game this year. They play hard. Whedon has had flashes of brilliance. He's definitely showing that he's learning the system. And Trey Richardson has had great games. He's had a few health concerns, but other than that, he's shown you that he's going to be able to carry the rock when healthy and do it well. So these rookies are definitely impressing me. They're impressing the fans, and the football's in great hands.
Oh, most definitely. And back to even more of the playoff chase. I think you has also stated here the AFC is kind of pretty much like the status of the norm. We already know the 6 teams who are going to make it to the playoffs: Houston,
right,
Denver, New England, Baltimore, and Cincinnati and Indianapolis. That pretty much is all the part of trying to fill out that puzzle and trying to see who gets the chance to go where. Looking at it right now, the Texans, all they need to do, if they get themselves a win, they clinch a first round bye, and if they get themselves also a win, they'll also do home field advantage. But if they happen to lose, there could be a chance that maybe New England and Denver gets a chance to slip in there and take that spot right here. Who do you think really needs to get that home field advantage in the AFC side?
I would definitely say Houston. I would say Houston due to the fact that I don't know the road record per se, but they're a team in my eyes that has, they have the less combined playoff experience compared to the other 2 teams.
Right.
You have Tom Brady, who's a warrior. The man's made for the postseason. You have Peyton Manning starting, who, he missed last season, but he's no stranger to the postseason. And, they went to the playoffs last year. They won the division. And you have Houston, even though they made the playoffs last year, Matt Schaub doesn't have that playoff experience. Last year he missed the first game due to, he missed those games due to injury. We still have to see how he's going to hold up, how he's going to perform under that pressure. The Houston's defense hasn't been performing up to par lately. Yeah, they have J.J. Watt, but they've been getting torched through the air. I think they really need their home field advantage more than the other 2 teams just because they don't have that playoff experience as much as the other 2 teams have.
Right, and I also give you another point too, having to deal with also the weather. I mean, it would be such a much better chance for them to probably play their games in Houston, because this is really big for them. Because if they don't want to have to go out to Denver where it's going to be cold, and certainly you don't want to go out to Foxborough where it's going to be cold. And we've seen what the Patriots did to them, I think, on Monday Night Football a couple of weeks ago, where they just completely ran over the Texans. And it's again growing pains, growing lumps. They took their lumps and all that stuff. But you really want them to come to a much better environment where it's pretty much going to be indoors. You got the crowd noise also reverberating in front of the the stands and all that stuff, and you kind of want that to have to deal with rather than really have to deal with the cold, because the track record for indoor teams, dome teams, and I don't know how it is with teams with retractable roofs, but let's just say Houston's pretty much an indoor team. The track record is not that good for them having to play outside in a certain temperature.
Yeah, and that's something you have to factor in as well. That's a great point. I'm glad you brought that up. And I'm not going to say I'm not sold on Houston, going deep into the playoffs, but the past couple of weeks, their defense has been getting exposed, and they haven't been looking like the favorites everyone had them out to be. They definitely have to show us. They have to go into, well, obviously, if they do win, if they do beat the Colts, the pressure is going to be on them. I think the wild card team that walks in there, they're going to be, in my eyes, more of a favorite, more of a threat than Houston. Houston will probably be the underdog in my eyes in that game because the pressure is going to be on them. It's going to be on Shop. It's going to be on QBA. It's a lot going on with them.
Right. And let's also jump into the NFC side where pretty much we already, when we as we had talked about earlier, we had already know that we don't know the teams that are going to make it to the playoffs except for one, which is the Falcons, and pretty much the whole NFC side is going to go through them. Who do you think is going to be the at least the biggest competitor that the Falcons have to really try to hurdle over in order to try to realize their dreams of probably at least making it to the Super Bowl?
Well, Green Bay. I think Green Bay has hit their stride this year. They're a team that they haven't been getting a lot of press. I don't know why, but they're playing good football. They had a rough start, but now they've hit their stride. They've been playing, and without Greg Jennings mostly.
Mm-hmm.
It's very impressive. And I just think Green Bay right now to me, they're the hottest team in the NFC. You have the Seahawks, you have the Redskins. Right now, if I had to bet any favorite coming out the NFC, it would be Green Bay, just because of their explosive offense. Aaron Rodgers, the defense that plays when they want to sometimes. I mean, true, they give up a lot of yards and a lot of points, but they do have the ability to make key turnovers. I just have more faith in them than Atlanta right now. Seattle, they're a great team, and they've been scoring more points, but I just don't know how Russell Wilson is going to do in the playoffs. Same thing with San Francisco and Kaepernick. Great quarterback, great young guy, but he's a stranger to the playoffs. Let's see if Washington makes it. RG3 definitely has he's mature enough to handle it, but I just don't know. Playoffs are different teams. They pull more tricks out their bags, and he's going to see more blitzes coming. He's already shown that he can take big hits, but he's missed a game and a half. I'm not sold enough. Dallas is the team. If they get in, they could make some noise, but you know how it goes. They flip flop sometimes. You never know which Cowboys team you're going to get. So right now, like I said, my favorite team right now to come out the NFC and to give Atlanta a run for that money would be Green Bay. What about you, Lamar?
I'm probably going to go with the same route here. I'd say Green Bay because, like you said, they've been quiet. They could have, and to be honest with you, after their game against Seattle, the Fail Mary whole thing, that whole fiasco, they could have really folded their tent and they could have just let it, they could have just let it fester into them. But I think their turning point was that game against Houston. And when they beat Houston in front of a live national audience, it just seemed like to me everything started to click a little bit more for Green Bay. And right now they've really performed very well. They're 11-4, and they've really came back from below here where it seemed like the Bears were going to take away with the division, and well, obviously the Bears have had their own failures themselves to really take that division in their right too. If there is another team that I really think that probably could give Atlanta maybe a chance, I would have said the Niners before they made that change to Kaepernick, and I think Kaepernick is okay, but he's still trying to learn a little bit of the grasp in the game. It's by themselves. I hear a lot of people have been saying, though, this team has been a sleeper. Maybe Seattle. I don't really. I mean, I don't know. But it just seems like with Richard Sherman, with him having his appeal of his suspension overturned, they kind of look to be a little bit of a team that, I don't know, they might get a chance to shock some noise, you think, right?
I really can't call Seattle a sleeper team anymore, though. I think they're now one of those teams where you expect a good game. You expect them to put up a fight now. Now, we're talking like somebody like Minnesota to get in the playoffs. I think they would be more of a sleeper. Yeah. Even Washington, I would consider Washington to be more of a sleeper than Seattle. Ever since Seattle's playoff victory from 2010,
Mm-hmm.
I think now the people take them more seriously now because that team was a sleeper team. That was a team that snuck into the playoffs. A lot of people didn't feel as if they deserved to be in the playoffs, and then they knock off the defending Super Bowl champion. So I think now Seattle has reached a status of where they're respected more, and they're a team that people look at and they don't take them as pushovers anymore.
Right.
So I can't have them as my dark horse, but I definitely see Minnesota as a dark horse if they make it, because they have the running game. They have a game manager, not necessarily a star quarterback.
Right.
And they have a defense that can keep them in games. So I see Minnesota as being a dark horse if they make it. Washington as well, and definitely I would have to say sleeper status now will go to the Cowboys. Granted they have Pro Bowl talent and huge payroll. You look at them and say, how can they be a sleeper? But no one expects Dallas to do much if they do make the playoffs, other than Dallas fans. And I think Dallas has the talent to not only go past, a wild card game, but to go to the Super Bowl. That's if Dallas comes to play the way we know they can play. So right now, I'm just excited to see how this Week 17 is going to play out. Definitely excited to see these results come. Right now, give me your playoff picture for the NFC.
For the NFC, I'm probably going to go on and say this. Obviously, we got the Falcons at the number 1 seed. I'm going to go on and say here, I think there is a chance that Green Bay probably winds up at 2. And I think it will probably be the Niners that might, let's see, it depends on who they're playing against right now. I'm looking at the Cardinals. I think the Niners will probably be 3. I got the Cowboys at 4. I have let me think. Is there a way that the Vikings can make it in with a loss? Let me see. Actually they might. Okay. Well, I think the Vikings can actually sneak in the playoffs, probably at maybe 6, and I think I'll say that also the Redskins probably make it in as one of the other teams as well. So because at least Washington, they can clinch the playoff spot with a Bears loss and a Minnesota loss, and I think Washington can make it in with that case, and I think Minnesota might have enough just to sneak in at 6. So. No, well, actually, that'd be more than one team. Dang, it is tough. It's tough, but I think the Cowboys will probably sneak in at the 4th seed. To be honest with you, and obviously Seattle's going to be in anyways too. So it's that last spot is going to be either the Vikings or the Redskins. What do you think, Rob?
I have to agree with you. I think Dallas will beat Washington, which will give them the NFC, which will give them the NFC East. I think Washington sneaks in, and I think Minnesota does enough to get in. So, yeah, I agree with your pick. So, if Dallas goes and the Washington goes, and which team would Dallas play, Washington or Minnesota?
I think, and let me see, right now, with the looking of it is, I think Dallas would play Seattle with the way that it seems right now. Now, unless Seattle loses this game, and I think the Vikings, if they can sneak in, because I don't think they played against each other this season, did they?
Right, you're right. Hold on. You're right. Because I was off Seattle. So basically, regardless, I think Seattle's clinched a first, right? So only one of the teams can get in after Seattle. So Seattle will be the wild card team, right? So I have Dallas beating Washington, will put them in the 4th seed, and I think that gives the last spot to you know what? I want to see Washington get in. I think I would like to see Washington get in.
I feel you on that one too. It's either Washington or Minnesota. I feel like that gets a chance because I don't think you can really go either way. Because I don't think you could either go wrong either way because you got with Washington you got RG3 and with the Vikings you got Adrian Peterson, and I think those two will be very good in their own right. So, hey,
right. And with Dallas playing Seattle. Hopefully, that'll be a great game. That'll be a game to really see. Uh, Russell Wilson arrive as a star in the league if he's able to take down Rob Ryan and that defense.
Mm-hmm. So how do you?
A lot of great stories.
How do you think you got the AFC that picture shaping out, Rob?
Well, right now it seems to be etched in stone. I think Houston's going to be Indianapolis, so I think they're going to be safe with the number 1 seed.
Mm-hmm.
I think Denver's going to be 2, New England at 3, Baltimore, Indianapolis and Cincy. Now, I'm not knowing. I think Baltimore would have to play Cincinnati, right? Or
yeah, Baltimore. No, actually, Baltimore is pretty much locked up. Now they're actually going to play against the Colts if they keep up the 4 seed. Yeah.
So that's going to be interesting. That's a game that pretty much is going to be a coin flip. But yeah, I see that. That's going to be a good game.
Mm-hmm.
And if New England stays at 3, they would get Cincinnati, and that's unfortunate for Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's what it seems like right there. But hey, I mean, it is what it is, though. So there you go. So we're going to take ourselves a little bit of a break. We're gonna try to get on hold with Dusty Thibodeau. Let's see if he's ready to go. And in the meanwhile, we'll be back with the Gafford and Brown Show in about 30 seconds. All right, we're back with the Gafford and Brown Show once again. We talked about the NFL. We're going to try to get our guest on the show, Dusty Thibodeau, at least Dusty Thibodeau and Tybee Sonye from on the air. But at first, we're probably going to go ahead to also say here, if you ever want to make a comment, don't forget, you can tweet us at Primetime2832 or Uptown Bobby, and you can also make a comment on the lower right box about the show. You can also do that. That's so many different ways to really interact into the show. But right away, we're going to talk about pretty much what's going to happen at the Independence Bowl. The game is going to be this Friday at 1 p.m. Central Time, 2 p.m. Eastern, and it looks like we got ourselves the Ohio Bobcats taking on the Louisiana Monroe Warhawks. We got ourselves. It's going to be pretty much of a rainy game right now. By the looks of it, there's a 50% chance of rain. But taking a look at it, at this, Rob, who do you think is going to win this game?
I have to be honest, I haven't seen much of Ohio this season. I have seen plenty of ULM games, and right now I would have to give the edge to ULM due to their playing quarterback and them having a great overall team. Their coach's style of play calling is aggressive. I think I have to go with ULM right now. Are you?
I'm really gonna have to say ULM because right now it's really showed to me that finally getting the chance to play against the big boys has really paid off for the Warhawks this season, and we've seen them take down Arkansas this year. We also saw them given a very good game against the Baylor Bears and also the Auburn Tigers this year too, which I don't see that they have this fear factor right now. And also playing in a game that's going to be pretty much in their own backyard, and Shreveport is just only 100 miles away. That also has to do a whole lot for their confidence as well.
Right, and like you said, they definitely have the home field advantage. Going to be a lot of ULM Warhawk fans out there. Right now, I would just have to give them the overall edge just because, like you said, home field advantage. They've been battle tested against elite programs. They have a coach that does whatever it takes to keep his team in the game. Going for it on fourth down, going for 2-point conversions, trick plays, whatever you have it. He's definitely going to keep his team in that game. So
Mm-hmm.
I have to go with ULM as well. Like I said, I wish I'd seen more of Ohio. I haven't, to be honest, but I give the edge to ULM right now.
And I wish I did see a little bit more of Ohio too. The one thing here is that I know that they're pretty much not pushovers. They played their first game. They actually also beat a BCS automatic qualifying team in Penn State. They defeated them in the first game of the season, and they went ahead. They started off 7-0. But the real problem here for Ohio has been they come into this game losing 4 of their last 5, and that's kind of a little bit of a tough thing for me here to really say that you got to look at it. ULM definitely has the momentum in this one, so I have to say ULM is going to get the chance and get a win in this one.
Right. Yeah. I just think they have the better quarterback, the better running game. I just see them as being a better all-around team.
Mm-hmm. Taking also a look at some of the other matchups, as other matchups that we have in the slate here, heading into the New Year's Day, we got ourselves some pretty good ones. I see Duke is playing against Cincinnati in the Belt Bowl tonight, and this is the first time Duke gets a chance to get into a bowl game since 1994, I think. So that's got to be exciting for them. Also,
Right.
yeah. Also, we have Rutgers playing against Virginia Tech in the Russell Athletic Bowl. That's going to be tomorrow. Texas Tech is playing the Meineke Car Care Bowl of Texas against Minnesota. So, we got ourselves some pretty good games. Texas against Oregon State. We got ourselves some very good games. Now, the one problem here we also have is USC. They're going to be playing in the Sun Bowl, but they're not going to have Matt Barkley in that game.
How far do you think Matt Barkley's stock has fallen as far as the draft being a first-round draft pick?
I really think he's going to be a first rounder. But the thing is, though, he's not going to be the number one pick as a lot of people had expected him to be. Sometimes it's kind of hurts you to really go back another year. And I understand if he really wants to get his education and all that stuff, hey, that works very well. But in the other hand, though, it seems to me he kind of suffered the same fate as his old buddy Matt Leinart in that case, where going back really hurt him.
Right. Yeah, it also seems that leaving early might not help. Looking at his past, mentor Mark Sanchez.
Mm-hmm.
So who knows? We'll see. We also have our guest Dusty Thibodeau coming on soon. He's a ULM insider. He's definitely give us a lot of good game talk. And Lamar, we also have another guest scheduled after him, right?
Yes, sir. We also got Tabby Sonye, who is also a very good writer for the News Star in Monroe, Louisiana, and she pretty much covers ULM as well, and she knows a little bit also about the Warhawks, and they're both going to give us a chance to give us some insight about the game that's coming up as well. So, yeah, we got ourselves that. While in the meanwhile, before we get the chance to get on their show, to get them on the show, let's also talk about some of the other news that's happening right now too. And we're looking at let's see, we got ourselves some of the other bowl games too. Which of the New Year's Day games that you're looking at as well as far as watching? Because I think.
You have to give me a rundown right quick because sometimes I get the dates mixed up.
Okay. Well, let's see. We got ourselves Georgia and Nebraska. They're playing against each other in the Capital One Bowl. South Carolina against Michigan in the Outback. Mississippi State and Northwestern playing in the Gator Bowl. Oklahoma State and Purdue in the Heart of Dallas Bowl. Wisconsin and Stanford in the Rose. Northern Illinois and Florida State, which that's going to be exciting. That's going to be in the Orange Bowl. And then we also got some of the other BCS games, the Sugar Bowl, Louisville and Florida on January 2nd, Fiesta Bowl, Oregon and Kansas State on January the 3rd, Cotton Bowl, Texas A&M and Oklahoma on the 4th, and you also got the national championship game in its own right on January the 7th with Alabama and Notre Dame.
Yeah, I definitely, out of the New Year's Day games, the Rose Bowl gets my interest, and I also would like to see the Outback game between South Carolina and Michigan. Want to see if Michigan wants to avenge their SEC loss against Alabama early in the season. I want to see how Noah Robinson is going to play since this is going to be his last game. Definitely want to see how Florida State is going to go up this year. There's a lot of interesting matchups.
I agree. I think really one of the games that really piqued my interest is going to be that Northern Illinois Florida State game. I really think NIU, who is from the MAC and who actually became a BCS buster this year, I want to see how they do against the big boys. I want to see how they play against Florida State. I mean, can they hang with them? If they get a chance to win, who knows what it might do for their program. But I want to see, can they hang with them? Another game that I'm really interested in, Oregon and Kansas State. Obviously, a lot of people have been talked about that as the national championship game. But at least they give us a chance to get into the BCS. And really, I think another game I want to see is the Cotton Bowl. So, yeah, I mean, that's going to be a very good game. Get a chance to see Johnny Manziel, the Heisman winner, get a chance to play against Oklahoma. So, those games are every single one of those slated games. You really cannot go any wrong with those.
Right, you can't. And it's going to be really interesting to see how the SEC is going to fare in a lot of these games because if they win, if Nick Saban pulls up another title, you're going to get the continued argument that the SEC is outright the best conference in the nation.
Mm-hmm.
And, that gets under a lot of people's skin because they feel as if, the SEC doesn't own college football. There's other, elite programs as well, but, so would this be 6 straight national titles? That's
7 straight.
Pretty convincing argument.
Yeah, and that's the thing. As it's said as Joe Gotti actually said in a rap song, basically numbers don't lie. And like you said here, 7 championships in a row for that conference, and it's not just one team that's actually doing it. It's pretty much a lot of teams that's doing it. I mean, you had Florida that won it in 2006 and 2008. You had LSU that won it in 2007. You had Bama that won it in 2009 and 2011. And you also had Auburn winning it in 2010. That really says a lot about the conference.
Right. And it shows that the conference dominance, just outright because they play, the Pac-12. The Pac-12 has had a representative. The Big 12 has had a representative. The Big 10 has had a representative. Every major conference has had a chance. Now you have Notre Dame, who's independent, getting a chance to play. So, it's a pretty convincing argument, the SEC makes when they say they are college football if they're able to get this national title on January 7th.
Right, and like we said, it's all these games is going to be very good. Now, if Notre Dame happens to get themselves, and if they happen to win that game, it really is going to be it really would be very nice to see Notre Dame actually get right back to the top of echelon after basically struggling and fighting for that.
Yeah, it would definitely change the status quo. It would definitely get Notre Dame. They're already a storied program, but it'll definitely get them more prospects, more exposure, and it'll be good for college football overall because they're a franchise. I mean, not a franchise, but they're a program that they have such a storied past.
Mm-hmm.
Joe Montana, the Luck of the Irish, the Rudy movie. Tim Brown. It's just a franchise. It's just a program with so much tradition behind it.
Exactly. And with that game, at least you got yourself. I think whoever wins that game wins their 15th national championship. Will actually have the most of this. So really, it's going to be a very good game for the casual fan too. So that's also going to be important as well.
Right, and like you talked about earlier with Northern Illinois, this bowl season is the time of year where programs really just getting themselves on the map get a chance to show out in front of the nation, and also get bids to bigger conferences.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen it with Utah. We've seen it with Boise State, TCU. You really get to make a name for yourself in these bowl games if you're a program that's on the come up.
Right. And to be honest with you, and I think the sad thing is, with all these teams actually getting the chance to go into the realignment thing, you're really not going to. Now, you see people that actually trying to get into the BCS this way by going to the BCS conferences. But another thing about realignment that really is going to hurt is kind of the whole BCS buster thing, too. Because you're not really going to see some of these squads that coming from the smaller conferences actually get a chance to get in there because of that. I mean, right now, you're pretty much seeing that the WAC is dead, and they really don't have that many people. So it's just going to be wondering who's going to be next in front of that with all that. So, yeah.
Right. So we definitely have a great group of games to look forward to watching. Lots to talk about in the upcoming weeks, especially with football getting ready to go into the playoff season.
Oh yeah, most definitely. So, hey, it's gonna be very good. Hopefully, we all gonna get a chance to basically sit back, watch, and enjoy these games, while as we always do as far as the tradition. We're gonna go ahead and take ourselves another 30-second commercial break. We're gonna try to get our guests on the air pretty shortly. But if not, we're going to talk about the NBA as well, with Darren Williams actually getting the chance to not Darren Williams, but Avery Johnson and the Nets. They basically said adios to each other. So we'll be right back on the air in about 30 seconds. All right, we're back on the air with the Gafford and Brown Show, and guess what? We got ourselves our guest on the air. We got Dusty Thibodeau of Warhawk Report. He was on one of our previous shows as well, talking about the ULM Warhawks and their season. Dusty, how you doing today? Hold on.
Hello?
Hello? Hey, Rob?
Yeah, I'm going to give you one moment, Lamar.
Okay, my bad about that. I had jumped the gun a little bit on that one. So once again, I feel embarrassed right now, but just telling you once again, continue to make those comments on our Twitter page, and also continue to make the comments on the comment box as well too. So, like I said, we're going to try to get our guests on the air as well. But for the meanwhile, though, we're going to talk a little bit about what's going on as far as the news is concerned. We got ourselves here. We were just talking about Matt Barkley not getting a chance to play in the Sun Bowl. He's out for that game against Georgia Tech. Brooklyn fired Avery Johnson, but of course we're going to talk a little bit about that a little bit later as far as the slate of the games too. And we got ourselves a whole lot of different stuff that happened here. So everything's just pretty much going pretty well. So hey. So let's see, what's the stat? We're still getting them on the air, Rob?
Yeah, I'm still in the process of doing that so far, having a few technical difficulties.
And once again, yeah, like we said, that also has a lot to do with it too. Let's just also talk basically about some of the news that's going on across the field of sports right now. Richard Sherman, he won his appeal earlier today, and he's really basically impressed me as a player this season so far too. So right now he's a good player that really the Seahawks really needed in terms of needing him down the playoff stretch as well. So that's also going to be very good too to see him back. Um, Pretty much right now we also got Adrian Peterson that's also trying to chase down Eric Dickerson's record. And it's amazing, like we said in the previous show, that he's actually trying to come back and actually trying to do this just 1 year removed away from the ACL injury. In Jetland, we got Mark Sanchez. He gets his job right back uh, after McElroy not going to get it because McElroy had a headache. So Mark Sanchez gets a chance to get back. Tim Tebow is not going to be the starter for this team. So that's actually going to be amazing right there.
Right, and it's another side that Sanchez will probably be coming back because it's hard to trade for a quarterback that's had so many bad performances and also has a high price tag. So he might be back on the Jet sideline, possibly as a backup.
Yeah, by the looks of it, it seems like that case because, like I said, again, they invested a whole lot in Mark Sanchez, and it really seems to be too much of a hassle, just to see them having to drop away from him. But it really looks like right now Tebow's not going to come back to that team, and because right now Rex Ryan had two different chances to at least name him as a starter, but now it's kind of a problem here with everybody's favorite number 3 quarterback.
Right, and it's got to the point that where it's almost a joke because what more? I mean, you have nothing to lose, so it seems as if what is Rex Ryan proving without putting Tim Tebow in the game? I don't get it.
Yeah, pretty much because your season's pretty much done with right now, and it's just tough right now. But I guess it is what it is, and well, because it's kind of like what everybody else has been saying about Tim Tebow. It's kind of been like I don't know. So basically that is it about that one. We also saw the Pro Bowl players. They got selected yesterday too. Did you get a chance to see those rosters?
Surprisingly, the Kansas City Chiefs have the most Pro Bowl players.
What?
Yeah, that's the Kansas City Chiefs have. That's just what I've seen. Floating around. It surprised me as well.
Because that is
a shocker.
Because that is absolutely crazy right there. Because I see right now they got I can't understand how they could get 5 Pro Bowl players, and yet they've only won 2 games.
Right. So they have more Pro Bowl players than wins. So it's kind of a head scratcher.
That is
Jamal Charles definitely deserves to be on the Pro Bowl.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And running down that list here, they also got Eric Berry. They got their punter Dustin Colquitt, Tamba Hali, and Derek Johnson. Wow, that's just crazy.
Yeah, I'm taking the Jeff Van Gundy approach to the Pro Bowl now. Fans shouldn't be allowed to vote. Or fans should have a percentage of the vote because that's kind of ridiculous.
That pretty much is because it kind of that's the crazy thing about that because it's just amazing that they got five Pro Bowlers, and here's the teams that they have more than. They have more than Cincinnati, Cleveland, Indianapolis, who does not have Andrew Luck on the Pro Bowl roster, but kind of you got a lot of quarterbacks there. Miami, the Jets, Pittsburgh, Washington, Tampa Bay, the Giants, New Orleans, Minnesota, Green Bay, Detroit, Dallas, Atlanta, and Arizona. It's kind of crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, it's definitely a head scratcher.
Now, the one thing
What were you saying?
I'm about to say, the one thing I would at least like to see here is kind of like in the way as far as baseball is concerned. I would like for them to at least get equal representation, at least somewhat, as far as the teams. What do you think about that, Rob?
I agree with that.
Yeah, at least
I definitely agree with that.
at least I would at least, and I know you can't do it for every league, and I know you can't do it for, of course, basketball because the rosters are so limited. But I would at least want to get the chance to see at least one team from each fan base get a player in. Like I know Jacksonville hasn't done too well, but at least reward like Maurice Jones-Drew for the season.
Yeah, or give Justin Blackman. Like every team has at least one player that's worthy of the Pro Bowl. Even the bad ones. Like Arizona has Larry Fitzgerald, Patrick Peterson. The Lions have had a bad season, but Calvin Johnson, he's broken, Jerry Rice's record. He's definitely worthy of the Pro Bowl. Just like Kansas City, they're a bad team with a bad record, but Jamal Charles, he's had a fantastic season. So, like I said, every team deserves at least one player.
Exactly, and I see one of my friends actually had got a chance to Clarence Sellers, who was on us last week. He actually tried to basically ragging on me about the Chiefs right now having a lot of Pro Bowl players. But yeah, I think that's probably going to be one of the things in terms of really trying to help help the Pro Bowl out. That's actually that might be a way to actually maybe increase the game, increase at least some of the viewership of the game. You think?
Right. And you know what? With the season the Chiefs have had, with the drama, the unfortunate, just all the off the field issues. You know what? Maybe we shouldn't be too bad that they have 5 Pro Bowlers. Maybe we should just, hey, it's been a hell of a season on the field and off the season. Why not go to Hawaii?
Yeah, that is true. And at least with that, in that case here, at least the players, at least some of the fans can at least get a chance to enjoy themselves, see their players get a chance to play at least one last game, get nominated for the All-Star game, and hey, I mean that's all. I mean that really helps out too. In that case, I see what you're saying about that one, Rob. But as far as some of the other teams, maybe it kind of could be a little bit. Some of the teams, I don't really see them having why they have to have a lot of players in there too. But that's I guess it is what it is. But I would at least love to see equal representation as far as that in that case.
Yeah, I totally agree with that.
Let me see. We also try to see if we got some more news to go along with us too. And this is crazy here. ESPN analyst Lomas Brown actually saying that he admitted that he tried to help injure his quarterback when he was with the Detroit Lions, Scott Mitchell.
Wow.
Which I don't know why would you want to do that, but then again, that's kind of crazy in his own right there too. That hidden method.
Very much so. Wow, it's crazy headline.
But yes, let's see what else, some more news that we might have to go along with here today. So, let's just go ahead. Let's just talk about the NBA real quick too. A little bit about the Christmas Day games. Which one of those really popped up and that you really liked to see? That you really liked as far as the viewing pleasure in this one?
Definitely the Lakers-Knicks game. Definitely that one went down to the wire. Had a lot of great storylines as far as Nash coming back. D'Antoni still trying to work out the kinks. Carmelo Anthony, further showing why he's in the MVP conversation.
Mm-hmm.
J.R. Smith, continued growth. Just a lot of great storylines. Great to see those two teams play, a little East Coast, West Coast. Lakers definitely got a win, a good win. Keep that winning streak alive. Too bad it's snapped now. But I would have to say the Lakers and Knicks. Oklahoma City and Miami was a good game as well. But those two games definitely were the best of the day. A lot of blowouts later on and during that night, but overall, a great day of basketball. How about you?
I have to say the same thing. I really enjoyed actually seeing the Heat Thunder game. I mean, and that one right there showed to me again why these two teams are pretty much the crop of the NBA, and Kevin Durant and LeBron James are pretty much the best two players of the NBA as well. The Lakers game here against the Knicks, I mean, hey, the Lakers got themselves, it seems like from what they started off at this season, they really seem like they've righted the ship a little bit. And we're not going to take away pretty much anything from the Knicks here because the Knicks really played a pretty good game themselves. As far as the ABC games, not too good though. The Celtics really beat the Nets. The Rockets, at least they got themselves a chance to showcase themselves on a national audience, and that's always a good thing too. With Jeremy Lin, who ironically just last Christmas he was cut by the Rockets, and this Christmas he helped them out to win a game. And then the Clippers also showing why they pretty much they got a good record. And this is a crazy thing here too. The Clippers have the best record in the NBA.
Right. Unfortunately, they edged out Oklahoma City, but yeah, they have the best record in the league. Just a fun team to watch. When I saw that they made the move they made this offseason with getting Jamal Crawford, Grant Hill, healthy Chauncey Billups, I had them as one of my favorites in the West. But to see it all come together has been fun to watch.
And it really has been because this has been a team that a lot of people have gotten a chance to watch. I mean, they are a fun team to really see. I mean, of course you got Chris Paul, but you also got very good players in Blake Griffin, and you also got DeAndre Jordan, who I really think who is also trying to become, pretty much one of the better centers that's in the league as well. And, they got the bench. They're deep. They're very talented. And they're going to give some teams a very good scare. And I hope Donald Sterling keeps this team together because this team is really, really is a good team. Now we're also going to talk about one of the teams that also played during Christmas, the New Jersey Nets. And unfortunate news to Avery Johnson, but he has been fired today. The Nets kind of been basically hovering around that 500 mark. Does this come to any surprise to you, Rob, that they fired him?
Well, not much of a surprise because during the preseason and early season, there were reports that Avery Johnson didn't like the intensity of this team, the defensive intensity, which is easy to understand when you have Joe Johnson, a player who's known for his offense and his firepower, but not really his defense. So, then Darren Williams, let's be honest, the guy ran Jerry Sloan out of Utah. Mm-hmm. So Avery Johnson's going to have, a hell of a time dealing with somebody that got rid of one of the greatest coaches of all time. So, not Darren Sloan, but Darren Williams has officially reached that level of being a coach killer. I really see him as now being almost like a diva as far as players go. Maybe that's why he didn't pick Dallas because of a disciplinarian like Rick Carlisle. It's going to be hard for him to shake that image after, two relationships with one Hall of Fame coach and one pretty good coach go sour in less than, 2 years.
Right.
So, it's a panic move. It's definitely a panic move because the team did well earlier in the season. They still have potential to do well. They have a solid core. It's just really unfortunate because Avery Johnson's a good coach. He's definitely going to get another job. If it's TV or, another coaching gig, he's definitely going to get another job. I don't know what else is out there for them. I can't see anybody else really taking that job right now. That would mesh with Darren Williams. I mean, who are you going to? You can't get Stan Van Gundy. I mean, he's just as fiery as Avery Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
Phil, I don't see Phil coming out of retirement to coach in Brooklyn. It might be tempting. I just don't see it. Brian Shaw, maybe, but I don't know. What do you think about it, Lamar?
And I think pretty much the same thing about that one too, because it was just crazy here to see that Darren Williams was kind of adamant to saying of him, getting rid of him, about coaches and all that stuff. And then a couple of days later, now you see this happen, and that's just I don't really know what to really say about that, about him and all. And like we said last week, it kind of seemed like it was a little bit of a blessing in disguise just to see, maybe it was a good thing that he didn't come to Dallas, because maybe the same thing would have happened. Who knows? I mean, but also looking at it like this too, I mean, because I was thinking maybe the Nets could get Stan Van Gundy, but apparently it seems like Stan Van Gundy has no interest in wanting to go to the Nets. And then you also got Phil Jackson. He kind of has no interest in wanting to go to the Nets because he's pretty much his ties with the Knicks. So really, where do the Nets go? I mean, you gotta. I mean, do they get somebody right now, or do they ride out the ship, with an interim coach here, in which they've named PJ Carlissimo as their head coach, at least
Yeah,
in the
I think
interim?
you keep it in house.
Yeah,
Keep it in house for now. Peter Colissimo, he has head coaching experience. A bit more laid back than Avery Johnson. So, yeah, I would keep it in house for now. You don't want to bring a new coach in, a new system right now when your team is, hovering around 500. Yeah, I would definitely keep it in house. Hopefully, they'll be able to find someone in the off season. But Darren Williams, this all goes back to him. He was very vocal about his frustration in Avery's offense, comparing his days to Utah, which frustrated me as well. How can you say you were a better player in Jerry Sloan's offense than get Jerry Sloan, make Jerry Sloan resign and force Utah's hand in trading you so you won't leave them high and dry, and you get to the new team and you had a chance to leave this off season. You could have gone to Dallas, you could have gone somewhere else. You chose Brooklyn, and you basically got Avery Johnson fired. So it's very confusing to me.
it is, and like as you just said about Jerry Sloan, I mean, I still couldn't believe that then, that he made Jerry Sloan basically run off, and then they traded him as well. And just even now, it just seems like, I mean, once is a mistake, but when you start to get to like two different times about that, it's kind of a little bit about, I don't know. It's just kind of, yeah, it's just tough, man.
Right. It's just it's a crazy situation, and I hope that, of course, Darren Williams is going to say it's not my fault. I didn't want to see Avery get fired, blah, blah, blah. But it's a situation where the blood is on his hands.
And you kind of don't, and that's just kind of rough right there. So yeah, we just gotta hope that you just gotta hope that maybe, and just maybe, the Nets can get themselves back together, because this is a very talented team. This is a talented team. Darren Williams, Joe Johnson playing pretty well, and again, I continue to say that I like Gerald Wallace as one of the good players of that team, and it really seems like they revitalized Andre Blatch's career from when he was with Washington. And I mean, this is a player that a lot of people, that Washington amnestied, because a lot of Wizards fans did not want him to be there, and really he's really performed nicely this season. So
right. And you also have Brooke Lopez. You have Reggie Evans coming off the bench.
Yeah.
Chris Humphries. They have the pieces. It just takes time. And, Billy King, he's going to learn. They're going to learn that, good coaches like Avery Johnson are hard to find.
Exactly. And like I said, once again, about Avery, just continue. I just hope that he gets a good job, another good job. Hey, maybe something really falls to his lap, that maybe gets himself some good players and all that. Just kind of like Mike Brown did too. So, maybe something happens that along the road. But if not, well, at least you got ESPN, where where they both actually got the chance to showcase themselves with their great analysis. And who knows? Maybe something happens, and there you go. Well, all right, we're gonna take ourselves a 30-second commercial break. We're gonna try to see if we can basically get our any of our guests on the air. If not, we're basically gonna try to wrap up the bowl to the show a little bit. Like I say, we can understand maybe they're busy, busy schedules and everything, but we're gonna try to wrap up. We're gonna try to get those interviews along the way. We'll be right back with the Gafford and Brown Show in 30 seconds. All right, you can start it now.
All right. Yeah, we're back on the Gafford and Brown Show. Lamar's busy getting our guests together. Just still talking about that Darren Williams situation. It's crazy that happened. Darren Williams had the chance to leave what was New Jersey, now Brooklyn, his off season. Chose to stay for the extra money. Now he's reportedly had issues with not New Jersey. It's hard to stop calling New Jersey. Had issues with Brooklyn's offense, saying that the system in Utah catered more to his skills, which is true, but if he didn't like the situation in Utah with Jerry Sloan, and media reported verbal, standings with Jerry Sloan, basically forced Jerry Sloan to retire, was traded from Utah to Brooklyn, which was New Jersey, due to, them not wanting him to leave during the offseason, leaving them high and dry. Made his way to New Jersey, had a great season. Now they're in Brooklyn. It's just a bizarre situation, and unfortunately, a good coach lost his job due to an all-star player with a diva mentality. It's something very, very rapid in the NBA. I hate to see a coach like Avery Johnson go on, but he'll get another job. If it's not ESPN, it'll be another coaching gig. Just a very unfortunate situation. Also, the Lakers last night snapped their winning streak to the Denver Nuggets. Very unfortunate. Dwight Howard, with a questionable call in my eyes, being ejected, didn't get the backup you would think you would get from his teammate Kobe Bryant, who agreed with the flagrant 2 count. Definitely got to raise your eyebrows at that. Coach D'Antoni also putting Dwight Howard down. I gotta feel bad for Dwight Howard right now. He's still not 100%. Doesn't have the support of Kobe Bryant, it seems. Mike D'Antoni kind of has a love-hate relationship with him. Just a tough situation for the guy.
Hey, Rob.
Don't do well.
I got our guest on the show.
What's that, Lamar?
I said I got a guest.
Okay.
All right. We're right now on the air with Dusty Thibodeau, who is a writer for the for Warhawk Report. Dusty, how you doing today?
I'm great. Just ready for 24 hours from now when we're live in the Independence Stadium for this Independence Bowl.
Yes, sir. And that is going to be a very good game because I already got my tickets to go along with it. But this is actually going to be a pretty good game between contrasting styles here. We got ULM, who normally runs the spread and who's pretty much of a little bit more of, they like to pass the football a little bit. And we also got Ohio, who's out of the pistol but also runs the football. What is going to be the keys to this game in order for ULM to get a good win against Ohio?
It's really a great matchup there where you have two teams that are very close to one another statistically. And so you're going to see ULM throw the ball first like they always do and then try to establish the run later. And on the flip side of that, like you said, the Bobcats are going to be a run first there with Bo Blankenship already over 100 yards on the season, wanting to add to that total as well as he looks to lead his Bobcats to their Super Bowl win.
And that's like I said, I really like that. I really like that analysis right there, and it's been really such a good thing for the ULM community right now to see themselves not just only get their first bowl game, but also get it pretty much in the backyard, just 100 miles away. And it seems like really the turnout here in Shreveport has been very nice to see, just to see ULM get here.
It's been great to see more and more ULM flags there around Monroe, as well as the campus there, and less of other state institutions on campus there. And it's been great being for and seeing the flood of ULM fans as they come in town. You see the car flags, the magnets, and everything else, as they're getting ready to take over Independence Stadium tomorrow.
Yes, sir. Rob, you have any questions for him?
Yeah, Dusty. Great having you back on the show. I haven't seen much of Ohio this year. I'm sure you scouted the team. What can we expect from Ohio? What players do we have to look out for as far as the game? Just your overall thoughts on the Ohio team. Offensively, they are very much and very much the same size and almost the same look as ULM. You're going to see Tyler Tettleton, the junior quarterback. It's very much like Colton Browning. He has the ability to extend plays out and make great throws downfield. Blankenship, junior running back, former Iowa State transfer, is a great threat for them and very well established in the running game. Dante Foster is their big receiving threat there, and it is very much kind of like the old McNeil guy that was at ULM several years ago. And so you're going to see mostly a run-oriented offense. That is what's really gotten them where they are today, and I really think that's what you're going to see on Friday afternoon. That they're going to continue to force the ball down and try to do a solid running attack that ULM has trouble with late in the season. Defensively, they don't have too much on the defensive side in the middle of their defensive line. Their info are very fast, very lean, and getting a good penetration. The stars of their defense are the linebackers, beginning with Keith Moore, which is their senior linebacker, and he will, without a doubt, be playing on Sundays after this game is over.
Yes, and like we said, that's pretty good right there with those with the pretty much the breakdown with the teams. I mean, because it really looks like to me again, we got Ohio who they've been in this situation for like the past few years where they've made it to some bowl games, and you also got Frank Solich who's actually been here before too in Shreveport when he was with Nebraska, but also about ULM is they've really it seems like they've cleaned up the awards a little bit too, as far as not just the all conference but also state and everything else too.
Right. I mean, there was definitely not a coach in the state that was more deserving of head coach of the year for Louisiana sports writers than Todd Berry, which he did land that honor. Brent Leonard, Colton Browning all made the second team as well for the All Louisiana team. So, this is a great team, and it's getting the recognition that they've well deserved after this great season that they've had.
Absolutely. And hey, trust me, as an alum, I have been so waiting for this day, and trust me, I didn't care if they had to go out there and play in Siberia. I was going to be there, no matter what. So, hey, I'm so glad they're here.
What you mean, and that was the number one question I kept getting after where's ULM going is are you going, and it was without even an invitation, I will be there.
Well, most definitely. And once again, great to have you once again on the show a little bit too. Nice breakdown. Once again, we'll try to get you back on the show again as far as other ULM topics as well too.
Sounds great. I thank you for having me on as always.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
All right. And that was Dusty Thibodeau once again of Warhawk Report. Gave us a great breakdown of the different games here. We're going to go ahead and take another 30-second commercial break, and we're going to try to get Tabby Saunier back, get her on the show as well with her thoughts about the whole thing too. Hey, we got basically give you two for the price of one in this one for the Independence Bowl. Once again, this is the Gafford and Brown Show. Hey, that was another good interview, man.
Yeah, man. All right, back with the Gafford and Brown Show. Lamar trying to get our other guest online. Just got off the phone with Dusty Thibodeau, gave us another great interview concerning ULM and the matchup with Ohio tomorrow at the Independence Bowl. Unfortunately, I won't be there, but Lamar will definitely be there. He'll be there to take notes and get a lot of info and come back next week with our show and pretty much break down the game, break down what he saw, what ULM was going to do in the off-season, other news and stuff of that nature. Just a busy sports week, busy sports weekend, plenty of great matchups in the NFL and the NBA. Looking forward to the new year, many other great sports matchups. Many of you that saw the Oklahoma City-Miami game and want to see more, that matchup won't happen again until Valentine's Day in Oklahoma City. Hopefully, we'll see a closer game throughout. Most of the game Miami led. Oklahoma City clawed their way back up in the second half, taking the lead, eventually losing. Just a great game, a great matchup between Kevin Durant and LeBron James, two of the league's best players, the league's bright future, and Kevin Durant. Also Russell Westbrook as well. Also, the Golden State Warriors, another NBA team that a lot of people are starting to take notice. They're on the come up. Definitely want to see them make the playoffs. Harrison Barnes, Seth Curry, just a great team. Great to see a coach like Mark Jackson giving them time to develop these young players. You see so many coaches now fired after bad seasons or bad starts. Great to see a coach given a chance to develop talent. Just want to see basically more coaches given chances to just better these teams and take time and mold these players. Too many times these GMs want to rush success. Success can't be rushed. Just look at a team like Orlando right now, basically playing with a group of role players. They have a record around 500 with some keynote victories. You just have to give things like that time. Or you have a situation like the Bobcats who are right now struggling, 16-game losing streak. Just very depressing there. But you also have teams where coaches are given their chance, like Scott Skiles in Milwaukee, to develop these teams. Milwaukee definitely benefiting with the backcourt of Monte Ellis and Brandon Jennings. So you just have to. I just wish coaches had better opportunities to build these teams from the ground up. Definitely would like to see them more often. Like to see Brian Shaw get a chance to coach, possibly in Brooklyn. Now that Avery Johnson's gone, just would be great to see him get a chance. Since so many people believe he has the potential to be a great head coach. Many people obviously wanted him to get that Laker job, but unfortunately that didn't happen. Mike Brown got it, who's now unemployed. So maybe it was a good Brian Shaw didn't get the job.
And I really hope that he can go ahead and get the job too. I just wanted to piggyback also what you were saying because I was trying to get Tabby on the line too. But I really hope Brian Shaw can. Oh, actually, we got her on the line here. Hold on 1 second.
Right. As Lamar just said, we have a second guest on air. She's a ULM insider, writes for the News Star, Monroe's newspaper. Just an all-around talented writer. We have her now. Lamar's doing a few last-minute preparations. Going to ask her a few questions about tomorrow's game, ULM versus Ohio. More than likely, she will be there covering the game. Just a very festive time in Shreveport. The holiday season is still going on. Tomorrow's bowl game. Many of ULM's fan base being from Shreveport. So basically it's going to be a home game for ULM. Pretty sure Ohio is going to bring much of their fan base down here as well. As Dusty Thibodeau mentioned earlier, both teams have similar playing styles, so this game should be pretty good. Should go down to the wire, baby. many ULM alum and fans are going to be there. I picked ULM to win the game due to just being battle tested. This is a team that beat Arkansas, just about beat Auburn, went toe-to-toe with Baylor. Just a great season. Almost a Heisman season for the quarterback if he would have pulled out a couple more of those wins. If they would have beaten Baylor and Auburn, this guy, his name definitely would have been mentioned in the race. Might not have made the final ballot, but he definitely would have got some buzz, much like guys like Geno Smith earlier in the year. Just an overall great season for them. But they have a great coach who has a kind of a less mild school of coaching when it comes to play calling and aggression.
Hey, Rob, we got our guest. Sorry to interrupt you, but we got our guest.
Okay.
All right, we are on the line right here with Tabby Sonye. She is a writer for the News Star in Monroe, Louisiana. One of my favorite colleagues and stuff too. And she really encouraged me to. One time, I think I saw a basketball game. She really encouraged me to ask a lot of questions. So that's basically what I'm going to try to do to you today. How are you doing today, Tabby?
I'm doing really good, thanks.
Thank you once again for coming on to our show. And as we were talking about with Dusty Thibodeau a little bit earlier, we were talking about the game in itself. What do you think are the keys of victory for ULM to in order for them to get a victory over Ohio today? I mean tomorrow.
Well, I think that the first thing is that if they can come out looking the way that they did in some of those first early games of the season in September, just being able to have their legs back under them for the last couple of weeks now, not playing a game in the last month. I think that, I went back and I looked at the Arkansas game. I'm kind of withdrawals like the first week without football, and so I had it saved on my DVR, and I was just looking at how sharp they were and just.
Tabby?
Hello?
Oh, dang. Well, something happened to our line real quick. We're gonna try to get her back on the air. I'm so sorry about that. Yeah, we're gonna try to get her back on the line. It cut off right as soon as she was in the middle of her conversation. I'm gonna try to get her right back. But yeah, as we were saying here about that game, this game is gonna be a very good one.
Right, it's going to be a good game, and definitely want to hear some more of her insight. But so far the theme's been ULM and and the fact that them and Ohio have similar play styles. Something that I didn't really know much about. Earlier we talked about not knowing much about Ohio's team, but it's definitely something that I'm going to go look at now. And something I can't wait to see tomorrow. I think this game is going to be closer than we expect now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, most definitely. Because I have a good feeling that the weather is going to have something to do with it, and that's gonna do a lot of it right here in that case too. I'm gonna try to get her on the line on my phone too.
Right.
Your call has been forwarded to an automated voice messaging system.
Crap.
3, 1, 8, 5, 4, 7, 8, 1, 8 is not available. At the tone, please record your message.
Yeah, that's
embarrassing.
Okay.
Press 1 for more options.
But yeah, most definitely. I think I got Rob out of the air too. But yeah, most definitely that's gonna be a very good game, and it's thrown right too. So.
Hi, this is Robert Brown.
So we're gonna go ahead and take ourselves another 30-second commercial break, and we're gonna try to get right back on the air with both of our guests on there. So we'll be right back with the Gafford and Brown Show. I'm so sorry about that. Yeah, my phone basically had my sister's phone basically cut off at that point. This is Lamar Gafford, the Gafford and Brown Show. We're right back on the air with Tabby Sonia. I'm so sorry, our phone had cut off right at the minute. Once again, how you doing, Miss Sonia?
I'm doing well. I guess let's take two on this and see if we can do a better job.
Yeah, sadly, you have to. Sadly, basically the communications and all that stuff is kind of a tough thing too. So, yeah, most definitely. So, about this game right here. About this game right here. Hello, Tabby.
Hello?
Connection. Your phone keeps going out again.
Okay, I'm back. Yeah, about this game right here. This is going to be a very good game between both of these schools. As you had said though about the keys of victory right here too about ULM. What again do they have to do in order to try to get themselves a victory here? And how good is this? And this Ohio team, this Ohio team really seems like they're going to be a good team too.
Yeah, I think the ULM just has to return to their early season form and do the things that they did against some of those big-time schools like Arkansas, Auburn, Baylor, and the way that they jumped out in their Sun Belt Conference play. Like I said before we got cut off, I was going back and looking at the game against Arkansas and just how physical they were playing, and obviously they were completely healthy at that point. And so now that they've had about a month off, they've been able to get their legs back under them and do some things to get, a little bit more healthy and being able to kind of come out with their guns blazing again.
Mm-hmm.
You look back at that Arkansas game and the way that they were knocking out people left and right on defense,
Right.
the things that they did to shake up Tyler Wilson at quarterback. I think that you're going to have to, first of all, shake up the quarterback in Ohio and Tyler Tettleton, because he's obviously a guy that has a lot of similarities to Colton Browning. He's a big-time passer. He can also rush around and pick up some big gains. And then, of course, they have their big running back who's averaged 125 yards a game this year. And so, the defense takes pride in stopping the run first, make the offense a one-dimension.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're going to really have to sort of step up their game and return to the defense that they were early in the season. I think that around starting November, the defense kind of started faltering. I don't know if it was just health issues or, they always have been real critical of the secondary play and kind of giving up some of those long passing yards. So it'll be really interesting to see how they're going to respond after a little bit of time off. And, of course, the offense with Colton back there and getting a little bit more time off to pay off that foot, even though, he got out of the boot right after the end of the season.
Mm-hmm.
And didn't really show any limitations in those two games that he came back against North Texas and Florida International. It'll be really nice to see what he can do with the month off, because we all know what kind of player he is. But to be able to have two good feet to run around and get those little things that he does with the scrambles, it'll be really fun to watch. And I'm anticipating a very healthy Colton Browning to guide the offense up and down the field.
Right. And as I had mentioned earlier too, it's also going to be a very good thing just to see. Even though Ohio has been in this situation before, I think they've made it to like 5 bowl games over the past 6 years, and ULM, with it just only being their first one, ULM does have one thing, and they do have the home field advantage, and they have the comfort right now of at least playing 100 miles away of that also coming into play for them. My question for you is on this is, how has it enhanced, how has the community reacted to this? And it really seems like the community is very happy, but could you give me a little bit of insight about that one?
Yeah, I think that everyone that showed up for the Baylor game really put a lot of excitement into what might come for the rest of the season. And obviously the home crowd started to kind of stagger off towards the end there. But this is sort of like that Baylor game all over again, where it's like, okay, a national TV audience, the only game on TV, then that time slot, and just a hop, skip, and a jump away from Monroe, and they're gonna be able to really bring in a lot of people. I feel like, because this is like a big, one of the biggest talks around town, and everybody wants to be a part of something that is, sort of the hot topic at the time. And I've had people calling me that I haven't heard from in years, wanting to know how to get tickets, or what side is ULM going to be on? What colors are they wearing so they know what colors to wear? If they want to wear the white or they want to wear the maroon, depending on what jerseys they wear. And so I think that a lot of people will end up coming over just because it's right after Christmas. Everybody's kind of gotten settled back into their routine. Families are, and even the people who are coming in town to celebrate Christmas, they might have gone up in Monroe. A lot of people ask for that for Christmas. I heard a lot of people say that's what they got their family members or friends for Christmas, is tickets to the bowl game, so they can kind of enjoy a top off of a Christmas week and coming over here. And so I think that a lot of people, even, this time last year, might not even know the name Colton Brownie, even though he's the quarterback. But, all these people are household names now, and if they have the backup of the fan support, really following them and really wanting to show some support. I think that I think a little bit of pride has to go into, the big talk was about, when last year it was in the New Orleans Bowl for the last 2 years because they sold a lot of tickets. Well, being a rival, they want to have their own big showing and say, okay, look, we can show up for our team too.
Right.
This is what we can look like on national television as well.
Exactly. And I mean, hey, it's really been pretty good. And I kind of also got a chance to look at the Ohio team, and what both of these squads have in common is that they knocked off an automatic qualifying team. And Ohio actually started off the season pretty hot, and sadly, they have struggled into the season so far. They I think at 4-5, losing 4 of their last 5 games. But this is still a very good team that they have as well too. My last thing too for you too has been, I read one of your stories earlier this week here about one of the tight ends of the ULM squad, that he's actually fighting cancer. And I know from what we both from what you had to go through about that too, I know that it hit a little bit home with that story right there, didn't it?
Yeah, battling ovarian cancer and dealing with all the things that come with that, just from the word cancer, and then dealing with all the after effects. For a young man to go through testicular cancer, I think that it was really, we connected on a very big level, not just because of the path that we've been forced to go down, but also because of the attitude. And he has a great attitude, which is just really admirable. He's just like, okay, like, this is not a death sentence. I'm just going to, like, knock this thing out and get back to living my life. And, that was kind of my deal last year. I thought that last year would be the year that ULM would do what they're doing this year. And I thought, I'm not going to be able to cover it. I'm going to be watching this in a hospital bed. I'm getting chemo. And, not that I'm saying that I'm happy that they didn't do well last year, because their senior class was really special as well. But I'm really glad I'm around to cover it. And I know that Harley, the redshirt freshman tight end, he was diagnosed in November after having some health issues and some pains in his body. And, he wants to be a part of this just as much. He is here, and he is able to be around the team. They have decided he's not going to play. But, with a cancer treatment center right here, he can get chemo. I think he just had to get one earlier this week. So he didn't have to go to Houston, so he could be around the team and function like a normal, teammate that he's been like all season long. And, he has the right attitude, and, those are the type of people who are just on this team anyway. They're never going to give up, whether it's in a football game and they're coming back from 28-7 deficit against the number 8 team in the nation, or, they're battling for their lives. And it's very admirable the way that he's dealing with this. I was 26 when I was diagnosed, and I never really thought the whole why me thing, but people around me were so upset that I was so young, and here we are now with a 19-year-old kid. And once again, he's not saying why me. He's just like, okay, let me set an example for everybody else. And that's just something to really, really admire about him, on top of a lot of other things, just from knowing him for the last 2 years.
And I'm so glad that both of you at least combated that pretty much head on with that too. And like I said, my hearts again goes out to the both of you as well, because once again, I was a good part of the Team Tabby movement itself too. And then, like I said, I'm so glad that we have that they have a player that is actually very high spirited as well, and actually gives the inspiration for his teammates too. Because hey, you need, and for a team, you really need that inspiration right then and there.
Yeah, you're exactly right. It's good that he has a good group of teammates around him to kind of carry him through this journey. journey as well. It really shows how close this team is, and sometimes that pulls out victories, more so than talent.
Exactly. Well, once again, I thank you for coming on the show once again, and also just in case of in case of we may have something else too. I hope that you get a chance to come back as well. We're trying to build up the brand and everything. And like I said, great friend of mine as well too. So I'm so glad that you got a chance to get on the show with us today.
Well, thank you, Lamar. I appreciate it. It's always good to talk to you. I hope I see you tomorrow at the stadium.
Oh yeah, most definitely, and glad to hear from you too once again because it's been so long.
I know, you're right. I'm looking forward to the reunion tomorrow.
All right, I'll take care and have a
thanks,
nice
Lamar.
day.
All right, bye.
All right, bye bye. All right, that was Tabby Sonier with the Monroe News Star. We hope to come back on the show. We're gonna try to put a pretty little bow on the show here. I'm gonna try to get Rob back on the show here. Yeah, trust me, this phone is a little bit tough. So, we'll be right back with the Gafford and Brown Show. Getting ready to finish up the show. All right, we're back again with the Gafford and Brown Show. We're gonna try to wrap things up real quick with this one. We had two very good interviews with two very good people, Dusty Thibodeau and Tabby Sonier. Once again, we would like to thank them once again for coming on the show again, and we hope that we can have them back on the show once again. As far as anything else, you have any other things that you wanted to talk about, Rob?
We pretty much hit everything on the head, but one last thing I like to just comment on was Kobe Bryant just basically driving the bus over Dwight Howard, man. I'm not sure if you saw the interview last night, but they asked Kobe his thoughts on the flagrant 2 foul. He agreed that it was the right call, and I've never seen a teammate really disagree with the referee's call. It was kind of baffling. I was shocked the whole time. He had Mike D'Antoni make this sarcastic response about Dwight. So right now I feel bad for Dwight Howard, man. The guy is playing in L.A. It wasn't his first destination.
Mm-hmm.
He still isn't 100% from his back injury.
Right.
People still see him as a villain for what happened with Orlando. It's just an unfortunate situation. And if the Lakers aren't careful, he's going to walk away, and they're going to be centerless. So,
that's
you got to keep our eyes on this situation going in L.A.
And that's really going to be the bad thing too, because as wrong as it really does seem here of what he did, and how that whole Orlando thing happened, he's still a very likable person. He's still one of the funniest people that's in the NBA right now. I mean, you look at the guy; he's always having a fun time. He's always having a smile on his face and all that stuff. So, my feeling is, I don't even know. I mean, I would think that if he doesn't stay with LA, I would really think that Atlanta might try to get him. Who knows? So, I mean, how you think that would be?
I think that would be a great move for Atlanta. Danny Ferry has came in and he's cleaned house. He's got rid of Joe Johnson and his huge contract. He actually has a pretty good team assembled. I mean, they've got some keynote wins of a good team. They have a pretty good record. Atlanta's not a bad team. So, yeah, I definitely could see them making that move. Maybe LA could get a trade at which they could send Howard to Atlanta for Josh Smith and maybe Teague. Maybe send Harper for Howard straight up. You never know. So, yeah, I can see Dwight possibly going to LA going to Atlanta if things don't work out. Who knows? Maybe Brooklyn can move some pieces around and get some cap space, and Dwight, takes a lower deal and he goes to Brooklyn. Who knows?
I mean, pretty much anything is really possible in that case right there because, I mean, at least with Stan Van Gundy saying he doesn't have Brooklyn, you got to think that Brooklyn is still in play. Is got to be back in play right now for the White. I mean, I would have just thought that the crazy thing would have been at least I would have loved to at least see like the behind the scenes here. What if Brooklyn somehow got like Stan Van Gundy to be their coach? And maybe Jerry Sloan to be like an advisor and have both of them on the team,
Right.
I mean, how crazy would that be?
Hello?
How crazy would that be?
Yeah, very crazy. Very crazy, very exciting, very sports center worthy.
Mm-hmm. But
Just, but it's definitely been a crazy season. As far as this NBA season so far, and like I said earlier, I just wish a lot of GMs will give these coaches chances to develop this talent properly, and get time to build these teams.
mm-hmm.
Like Mark Jackson is doing a great job in Golden State because
Mm-hmm.
even though it's his second year, Golden State is showing that they're patient, they believe in him, and they believe in what he's giving, and what he's selling the players.
And that's the truth, because it really does take time, and I don't care what other thing it is, like sports. It could be sports, it could be anything else. I mean, really, one season is not enough unless things are going really bad and you can see that things are not going pretty well. Then hey, then maybe you could make the trigger. But I mean, you look at like you said about Golden State. Golden State, most of us were probably thinking, why would they hire Mark Jackson, a guy with really no coaching experience? And looks like right now that move has turned out to be a good thing for Golden State, because they got themselves, I think they would be in the playoffs right now if the season were to end. So, hey,
Right.
it all works. It all works and all this stuff, and that's all good too. Well, all right, we'll try to get back on the show next week. Well, maybe sometime next week. You got an idea on a time and a date?
I'm free New Year's Day. I'm free New Year's Eve and New Year's Day.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to see if I'm gonna be free on New Year's Eve and day as well. We're gonna try to get ourselves another show pretty much as soon as possible. We'll try to get right back with you on that one, so we'll tell you about that. Um, Once again, this is the Gafford and Brown Show. I'm Lamar Gafford.
Yeah, you guys have a happy New Year.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Have a happy New Year too. And on behalf of Robert Brown, we're basically going to cut it right there.